Welcome back. Just listening to Mike Pomp, Morning Information Center. Good morning, Mike. J-Dog on the boards. We are looking at an absolutely beautiful day again, weather-wise. We've been in a good stretch of weather, and it's going to continue right through Friday. J-Dog, I don't know if you saw it. You're going to have to want to do your, what do you call it, your rucking or whatever you do on your hiking walk. Friday going to be near 80 or 80 for a high and sunshine. Enjoy it. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google. And thousands of you are each day and more than that each week. Listening on our Pulse of NH app. Download that at the your Play Store. Pulse of NH. It's a great one. It's the best news talk app in the region by far. Your local weather, national news, local news, broken down by region, and all our on-demand stuff. And our poll question today up on X, and that's at the Pulse of NH. Everything with us is the Pulse of NH. Hey, Alexa, hey, Google, play the Pulse of NH. Our poll question this morning, and J-Dog will give you results from yesterday a bit later, is simply, do you think more serious candidates are going to jump into the race in Congress in New Hampshire, yes or no? I say yes. We have a newsmaker joining us now who's adding to that list. Before we get to that, quick news. Federal Reserve meeting to cut the interest rates, 1/4 percentage point. Our own Doug Tengden will have that live for us pretty much as it's happening. Royal treatment in Great Britain for President Trump and the First Lady. Everything on the docket from state dinners and official lunches and horse-drawn carriages to trade talk. Also, affordable housing, big part of our show this morning with solutions from Maine to New Hampshire. We'll hear from some experts. And also, we're going to update you on all the other news talk. But joining us out of the gate this morning, I believe it's her first live interview since she's announcing this morning that she's running as a Republican in the 1st Congressional District. She's president and CEO of Novel Ironworks over on the Seacoast. Holly Novoletsky joining us live. Good morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of NH. Good morning, Holly. Well, I'm going to let you make it official. Are you running for Congress? Now, this is getting to be really the most crowded congressional race overall in both the 1st district with Republican candidates. I know we've had Chris Bright in the show. There's others. But the Democrats, and you'd have to say based on polling, although I think polling's about as worthwhile as, I don't know, I won't get into it. But Stephanie Shaheen, big name on the Democrat side running. There are several other candidates. I've had one or two on the show, and Stephanie Shaheen, but that's a big name. So you've answered the question, why are you running? But let's assume it's someone like a Stephanie Shaheen in that 1st district. And in history, we've seen it go back and forth, back to the Frank Ginta days, Carol Shea Porter, Jeb Bradley. But it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen a Republican in a federal seat in New Hampshire. Can a Republican defeat, hypothetically, a Stephanie Shaheen in that race for Congress?
We need to address energy. We need to address, and as you said, the Fed's going to look at the interest rates, and we need to look at
Mm-hmm.
But we have a real opportunity right now.
Now, you and Novel Ironworks, tell us again. You do basically big building stuff, right? Big steel for commercial building, right?
Yeah, so I actually have a very wide background. So we at Novel Iron is a 70-year company, family owned. We've moved into the third generation now. We do the structural steel. We buy all domestic material, except for there's some very large jumbo sizes that we have to get from Europe because they're not rolled domestically. But we build the sculptures. If you think about the steel skeleton for buildings, anything from a steel beam for the house up to the skyscrapers you see in Boston. So we've been doing that. We also do erection. So we put up the steel that we make. I'm also a psychiatric and geriatric nurse, so I understand the issues of health insurance from both a provider and also somebody who has to negotiate health insurance for my employees. For over 100 employees, I've been negotiating. So I see the issues of health and the cost of health.
Holly Novoletsky, you're hearing her announce here that she's running for first district for the first district congressional seat, Republican side. Of course, Chris Pappas has been in that seat, now running for the U.S. Senate. Holly, I wanted to ask you real quickly. When President Trump started, and he's of course in Great Britain today, we'll be talking about steel and aluminum tariffs. Ironically, talked about tariffs, including with countries like Canada to our north. A lot of people were jumping up and down saying, what is he doing? Is he crazy? This is going to kill our economy. It's going to be bad. So far, the economy's hanging in there. But as a person who manufactures stuff, builds stuff, creates stuff, is writing the tables on some of these tariffs, like with Canada, good or bad from your point of view? Mm-hmm. All right. So we're strong by American. It protects the American worker. It protects the American manufacturer. It grows our tax base. It grows our opportunities for the American worker to have an affordable life. All right, Holly Novoletsky, thank you. If people want to learn more, what's the best way? HollyForNewHampshire.com, and it's all spelled out. Holly with an IE, 4FOR, NewHampshire.com. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Federal Reserve cutting the interest rate 0.25%. That's expected. Doug Tengden, World Market Advisors, coming up, one of our great partners and sponsors. I also want to mention, J-Dog, we're programming note. I guess we're going to be doing some more high school football. We'll tell you the dates as we get going. Exeter High School has been fun. J-Dog, you were off when we talked about this. We've had Coach Ball on a few times. As you know, last week he was on playing Portsmouth, I think. But I have flashbacks back to WMUR TV when I was running the news there, and Charlie Sherman came to me, and I think Mark Ockerboom at the time, saying, "A good idea, boss. We want to send cameras to high school football games on a Friday night like Merrimack, Portsmouth, around the state, Salem. We think it's going to be great for ratings. People are going to love it. Great for community." I said, "Go ahead and do it," and it took off. So the Pulse of an H, we're airing high school football on Friday nights. We'll have more on that as we get into the week. Hey, Alexa, Hey, Google, play the pulse of an age federal rate hike. Also, bottom of the hour, affordable housing, Bob Jackman, Laval Minute Building Supply, and then our friends at the Manchester VA, spinal cord injuries, what they're doing for veterans. Back in a moment. All right, we're going to have more on the suspect in the Charlie Kirk assassination. That memorial service will be Sunday. Both President and Vice President J.D. Vance will be there speaking. Prosecutors yesterday in court outlining text messages between the suspect, Robinson, and his roommate. Authorities saying he had a romantic relationship with his roommate, who federal investigators say was transgender. That's being confirmed by Robinson's mother, who has spoken to folks saying that she saw a dramatic change in her son over this issue of transgender rights as well as political stuff in the last year. and whether or not, obviously it's a political type thing, but all this, as the prosecutor said, will be up to a jury to evaluate. But specific text messages, including a handwritten note that he had left, or a note, I don't know if it was, it was a note, I don't know if it was handwritten, under a keyboard, prosecutors said, in the apartment he shared with his roommates, saying, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it," according to the one of the federal prosecutors, Gray. Also, Pease, the airport over in Pease, there's been these protests about stopping the ICE flights. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement flights out of Portsmouth Airport have been paused, according to reports. There've been more protests over there at Pease to stop the ICE flights. Maybe you've seen the signs if you're flying Allegiant in and out of there, and not clear if they will resume. Are we going to switch gears? Federal Reserve meeting. No big surprise. It's almost forecasted 0.25% rate cut, but we wanted Doug Tegden, our own economic thinker and expert, worldmarketadvisors.com, to kind of amplify and weigh in. Good morning, Doug. I'm all right, thanks. Did we lose Doug? All right, I'll have Doug call back. I think. Oh no, there you are. Go ahead, Doug. Lost you for a minute. Lost you again. All right, Doug. If you can hear me, call right back. Well, we have time, so call right back, Doug. Federal Reserve. Now, keep in mind these rate cuts. It's been a while, and they are overdue, in my humble opinion. Should have been done earlier. They always wait too long and do nothing. It's because they have a bunch of economic master degree type experts who tell them things are uncertain, don't do anything. When rates were too low and inflation was starting, they kept them too low too long. Now they've been high. There's not an exact correlation with cutting the rates, but eventually it trickles down to you and me on things like mortgages and consumer loans. So it's a good sign, in my opinion, to lower the rates. It will allow more people, especially if they lower them a full half point, 3/4 of a point. If rates get below 6%, for example, for a 30-year fixed mortgage, it might prompt someone to sell a home if they have one of those golden 3% mortgages. So, J Dog, you might have just been in a bad reception, but call back if you can. I just told Doug, I don't know, cell phone. By the way, speaking of connections, yesterday 107.7 FM, one of our flagship WTPL, we were staticky. Allison in our front desk was taking calls all morning. People want to know if it was censorship or what happened, and they missed it. And I apologize. It was actually unbeknownst to us. We have a transmitter and a signal on top of a ski area. I just won't say which one. They were doing some work. They cut a line, and you know how these things happen. But our team got us back on in the afternoon. That we have a great team, Mark and the team. So good stuff. But I know 107.7 yesterday, a lot of folks. But our streaming, anytime you want, I try and explain to people, you can listen to us anywhere, anytime, worldwide when we're live. Hey, Alexa, hey, Google, play the Pulse of an Age. And we have listeners that while they're traveling to all over the world, places like Europe in the afternoon, they'll listen in to catch their local stuff, and you do it real easily. So, Doug, we don't know what's going on. It's probably the Hanover, who knows, cell demons cutting you off. Good morning. Just kind of amplify your thoughts. Interesting. All right, we'll see where it goes between now and the end of the year. And I was explaining when I lost you, Doug, that these rate cuts don't immediately transfer to you and me. It's sort of bank to bank, but eventually they push things like consumer loans, the percentages down. I don't know about credit cards, but certainly mortgages and like leases and car loans, right? All right. I appreciate it. Doug Tankton, thank you. All right. We are getting word. Um, I just want to just one of our listeners sharing some information. There's going to be a vigil, which I darn hope is peaceful for Charlie Kirk this weekend. Scheduled in one of the places scheduled is Portsmouth, downtown Portsmouth, and that's going to be interesting because I've seen a lot of protest in downtown Portsmouth, but they've mostly been, let's just say, on the more liberal side or anti-Trump side of the political aisle. So that will be interesting. I don't know. I'm trying to look at Seacoast Online. One of our listeners sharing that or asking me, and I don't know. Today's Wednesday. Sunday, of course, in Arizona. I imagine that will be hugely attended or covered, but that was scheduled. Then another story out of Seacoast Online, and maybe, you know what, J-Dog, we'll get Alicia Preston-Xanthopoulos on at that 10:35 slot. That was open. Um, the ice flights out of Pease have been temporarily suspended. That doesn't mean they've stopped, but there have been protests over there as well. Affordable housing, number one issue facing this region. And each week going forward, we're going to have a segment with solutions and answers to affordable housing only here. Only here. Good. Everyone can talk about a problem, but who's doing anything to solve it? What are the answers? What are the solutions? Good Morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of an Age. Every Wednesday, we're going to have a segment dedicated to solutions. And one of the folks that have answers is Bob Jackman, Laval and Middleton Building Supply. They had that big open house last week and on some of the new, more affordable, smaller homes that can be put, for example, in a backyard if we get these ADUs zoned correctly, or if towns stop the hypocritical BS saying, oh, we need affordable housing, but they don't want it in their community. So we have solutions. We're also going to hear about a great effort in Maine that they're doing affordable housing, and I think they have a footprint right here in New Hampshire. And then the Manchester VA, then this hour, talking about spinal cord injuries. And tomorrow morning, we're going to get a live report from Franklin, New Hampshire, the only Franklin I'm aware of in New Hampshire, or maybe. Little joke there on Henniker or about Henniker. It's the Veterans Campus officially opening. It's been open, but it's opening. This is a game changer for veterans. This is a game changer. And I know too many of you are unaware of this story yet, but tomorrow we'll talk more. This is housing for veterans. Speaking of affordable housing, services, event center, all kinds of nonprofits are going to be featured there. Northeast Delta Dental, one of our great partners and sponsors will have a presence. All one campus, one area, one community for veterans. And it is a model for the United States of America. I kid you not. I don't know of any other, been waiting to tell you this, tomorrow morning live, Good Morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of an Age. I don't know of any big part of Easter Seals, Maureen Beauregard, the team, Veterans Count. We do that's of course, big focus will be this spring on this. We're going to have probably the biggest Make 12 Hours count for Veterans Count ever in May. This campus in Franklin's a game changer for veterans. I don't know of a campus, and this is innovation, folks. This is bringing I've been talking about this, so it's like a dream of mine for months or years, bringing all the nonprofits that are scattered around New Hampshire, from Keene to Portsmouth, from Nashua to Colebrook. There are nonprofits, but not enough people know about them. I don't know about them. You don't know about them. Veterans don't know about them. And Franklin is going to be the epicenter. It's going to, Concord, New Hampshire is the capital. Franklin's going to be the capital for veteran stuff in New Hampshire. All these places are going to have a presence there. And it's amazing. It's going to be, it's a game changer. Veterans are already living there in some of the affordable housing there. This is a game changer for veterans, by veterans, for veterans, with veterans. And I don't know of a state in the country. That has a campus like this for veterans. And it was all through innovation, private stuff, state stuff, executive council, former Governor Chris Sununu supporting this. And this is amazing. It's other states can learn from this. And it's a quest to really make New Hampshire one of the, if not the most veteran-friendly state in America. Franklin, New Hampshire, you may think I'm overstating this, but if you go online, Easter Seals, Veterans Cup, just Easter Seals, New Hampshire. Go online and just Google Franklin Campus Easter Seals. Franklin, New Hampshire. Franklin, New Hampshire Campus Easter Seals. Just Google it. Look at how beautiful this is. And it's for those who serve. And please, with all the gobbledygook, all the divisiveness, all the self-important political rhetoric out there, all of it, please remember one thing. 340 plus million Americans, very entitled. Please remember one thing. Less than 1% serve in the military. Less than 1%. It's a pretty dangerous world out there. Who keeps us free? Oh, by the way, all this social media expression, all the signs, all the vitriolic political statements, everything. Both sides. Both sides. It's freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. And I wish more people would wake up, speaking of wake up, and see that freedom is not free. That expression, that right, is not automatic in other countries. We have freedoms here. We have flaws and faults as a nation. We do. But we're still the freest nation, the greatest nation on earth, by far, bar none, by far. You want to move to Portugal? Rock on. Have at it. Freedom is not free. Less than think about this, less than 1% serve 340 million plus Americans, less than 1%. And what the state is doing, and I'm highly supportive of this. Check it out online, Franklin, New Hampshire. Go visit on an afternoon or a day where you're near Franklin. Many of you may not even know where Franklin is. Go visit this campus. If you have a veteran, if you are a veteran, anyone, your caregiver, go visit Franklin, New Hampshire. It's unbelievable. We'll have that live for you tomorrow morning. Big preview right there. Coming back, affordable housing. Bob Jackman next.
Live from the Outdoor Pride Studios. Outdoor Pride is the Granite State's largest landscape and snow management firm, proudly serving commercial properties from Greater Manchester to Greater Boston. Visit them online at outdoorpride.com. Jack Heath on the pulse of New Hampshire.
Yeah, I know we all want to talk about some framing stuff, but before we do, I want to hear from Bob Jackman, Lavalla Middleton Building Supply, and the affordable housing subject. And we're going to start every Wednesday with Solutions, talking about their open house last week. And how did it go, Bob? Yeah, well, I'm glad you did that. Keep us posted because I want to keep this going every Wednesday. We're going to have a positive solution subject segment on my show every single Wednesday on affordable housing, unrelated to our regular stuff with you, but you're a big part of that. Bob, what is fast framing? I think of Washington, D.C., and I think of framing. No, I'm kidding. What's fast framing? Mm, interesting. And I see go ahead. I see your flyer here. Go ahead. Mm, right. What? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have friends I know from work sites. That's a big part. All the stuff that piles up. What are some of the questions your locations and associates get when it comes to, the framing stuff? What are, people have done it a lot and do it a lot, but I'm thinking first timers. What are some of the questions? Interesting. All right, what else you have for us this time of year? What are the big there's so many because everything from moving stuff in. I would imagine sheds is big right now. Garages, what's the big stuff? Yep, good stuff. All right, Bob. Stop by any of your locations. We don't think about this, but I haven't asked you in a long time. Bob Jackman, Laval, Middleton Building Supply. You looking for new associates and team members still, or are things filling up employment wise? Yeah, we'll have time for that because there's a lot of things we forget. It's like the spring, life jackets, water, cold water, fall, winter, CO2. Check the furnaces, get things clean, be smart. Don't put gas on your deck, and all that. We'll get to that. Thank you, Bob. All right, spinal cord injuries, Manchester VA on deck next.
Falls of New Hampshire.
All right, we got some great team members for Veterans Manchester VA, and we have Associate Director of all the VA here, Julie Vose, sort of quarterbacking this for Kevin Forrest. But we're talking about something that is a real serious issue and challenge for anyone, let alone veterans with any spinal cord injuries and other disorders. But they have some. Julie has some great program folks and a physician with us, so I want her to run with this for veterans, and especially your caregivers out there, caregivers of veterans. Please pay attention. Good morning, Julie. Mm-hmm. Thank you, doctor. And I want to just ask the doctor, Heidi, a little bit about you, but before we get there, are we making advancements in this area with technology and new ways to maybe, versus more, how do I say this, serious surgeries that may or may not yield good results? Are we making progress on spinal cord stuff? Interesting. And now do we have the doctor there? Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I heard both. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about tell us about your, well, both of you, your backgrounds. I always like when I'm on with Julie or Kevin, ask team members like you that are so important, how you came to the VA, why you're there, why you like that passion and service versus, say, another healthcare facility. So give us a little bit of background. What about the VA aspect? What draws you to this versus, again, like another hospital healthcare system? Yep. And what about your colleague? Excuse me. I love hearing that. Thank you for your service in the Air Force. Julie, this must be kind of I think a formative, exciting time for you because you do have advancements I'm beginning to see at the VA physically, as well as more program experts coming on board. I appreciate it. And I always like to ask this because sometimes, and let's face it, whether you're dealing with a bank, checking your credit card, just about everything today is a little bit arduous to take advantage of technology or make a phone call. But if a veterans listening or a caregiver, I'm just trying to get more people to come your way, just in general. If they haven't been in, they want a general consultative meeting. What's the easiest way for a veteran or a caregiver to either call or come by, whether it's Tilton or Manchester? We shared that story not long ago where an Air Force veteran hadn't had a physical in a while since he had been out after 20 plus years in service. Finally got to the Tilton VA, had a wonderful, over an almost an hour long physical with a PA or a doctor, whereas he had gone to another place in the private sector and felt rushed, had questions, didn't even get to ask the doctor, but he went to the Tilton VA. So anyone, whether it's spinal cord or whatever, what's the easiest, best way to learn more? Good stuff. Well, thank you both. And well, actually, all three of you, but Julie, thank you. And our two healthcare experts. Thank you both for making the care better. And I really want to reach caregivers. Thank you, Julie. All right, coming up, you heard me say earlier, we have, without a doubt, we have an affordable housing, not challenge, it's a crisis. I mean, it really is serious because people can't afford homes. I was speaking to our friends from NAMI on the mental health side yesterday, Susan and her team, and part of the mental health stress is people are being priced out of their homes. 70-year-old, couple. She shared with me yesterday. We're living in an apartment, and the apartment got run down, and they basically, J-Dog, were you in the studios during the break? She said, I think they said they wound up living out of a vehicle until one of them passed away, and they were just so stressed out because of rent going up so high. That's serious stuff. And you may say, we're New Hampshire's always rated as one of the most affluent, one of the safest, best, most healthy, successful states to live in. That's true. But if you can't afford an apartment or a condominium or a house or a roof over your head because of the cost, and it's not just buying, it's renting. So we have affordable housing solutions starting now this morning, every Wednesday. It's easy to talk about problems. Everyone, the line is long and deep for people out there that want to talk about problems, but the line is short with solutions. We're going to be focusing on solutions and answers on affordable housing every Wednesday. It's a brand new segment starting this morning. Every Wednesday, we're going to have solutions and answers from experts in the field, experts that are making a difference. You're going to hear from Jen Hawkins at Avesta up in Maine, but they have a footprint in New Hampshire coming up. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google. Play the Pulse of an Age. Jack Heath, the illustrious one. J-Dog on the boards. Live and local worldwide. The Pulse of an Age.